All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. This webinar is being recorded today. This webinar is on coverage for snow removal operations. We're so excited to have you joining us today. My name is Crystal Fleischman. I am the Director of Marketing for New England Excess Exchange. With me today, we have Zach Schmall, who is our Senior Commercial Lines Underwriter, or a Senior Commercial Lines Underwriter. And we also have Zachary Sherman, who is a Business Development Specialist with us today. So Zach Schmall will be joining us presenting, and we do have Zach Sherman here to answer some questions related to our pay-per-plow program. So we are going to have questions today, so I want to test our Q&A feature here in the webinar. So I'm going to start out by having a little fun today. I am curious, we are talking about snow, but I would love to know what your favorite season is, and I'd like you to put that right in the Q&A. So if you can just click it right there in the Q&A and drop your favorite season, and we can find out if that's working. Perfect. I'm seeing a lot of fall, summer exclamation point. Maybe not so excited for this snow that we might have soon. Non-snow seasons, I see. Perfect. Oh, we have a few winter. That's fantastic. Love it. So perfect. So it looks like our Q&A is working perfectly. So I appreciate you testing that out for us today. So we're going to move along. And I do want to talk a little bit about New England Excess Exchange today. We are a managing general agency and wholesale broker. We have been in business for 40 years, so we are celebrating our 40th anniversary. We're very excited about that. We're celebrating that this year. In 2021. We are independently owned, and we take a lot of pride in that opportunity to be at the head of the decision making for New England Excess Exchange. We do offer fast turnaround time. That's very important to us. You're typically going to see a response in less than 24 hours, often same day, and in many cases within the hour. And so it's very important that turnaround time is a high priority for us, and we want to offer the very best service. Speaking of personalized service, that is exactly what we do. You can see Zach Schmall on the call today. Several of you may have worked with Zach previously on different accounts. We believe in allowing our agents and giving them the opportunity to work directly with an underwriter. You will get to know who they are. You can call them. You can send them an email. It's very important that we create that one-to-one opportunity between the agent and the underwriter for the risks that you send to us. And finally, we are more than snow removal operations. We offer several lines of coverage in property and casualty, primary and excess flood, transportation, garage, as well as personal lines. So we do hope that you will think of us for all of your in-house we do hope that you will think of us for all of your hard-to-place risks or risks that maybe are not a good fit for the standard market. So speaking of snow removal operations, or snow clearing and snow plowing, we do offer that within 11 states. So all of New England, as well as Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. And I would take this opportunity to say that we are expanding our overall property and casualty, flood, and personal lines coverage to 4 new states in 2022. So we will be offering other lines of coverage in Delaware, Washington, D.C., North Carolina, and Virginia beginning in 2022. So we do hope you will think of us for those states as well for other lines of business. So now I'm going to turn the time to Zach Schmall, and he is going to talk to us about our traditional snow removal program. So take it away.
Well, yeah, thank you so much, Crystal, and yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It makes me really happy to look at the participant list, and I know so many of you. So thank you for taking the time to be here with us today. So snow removal. This time of year, obviously, everyone wants to know where we can go because the market's changed seemingly every year. And our appetite has remained largely consistent for a long time. As you can see on the screen, we start with a minimum premium of $5,000 for residential and commercial risks in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. In New Jersey, it's a little bit higher at a $10,000 minimum. New York, you're a little bit higher than that at $15,000. I will say, I mean, over the past year and the past years, I've found business in all of these states. So very competitive as far as it seems to me. I will say, as just a little caveat, that if you are in, or if your risk is in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Rhode Island, or Maryland. Oh, my audio is poor. Oh no.
We can hear you. You're all set.
Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, thank you. If you're in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Rhode Island, or Maryland, and you have 3 years of planned loss runs, I might be able to get you lower to $2,500 per plow for the very small kind of incidental residential type of plowing. So I like to just think of us as a $5,000 minimum. But if you have that very unique risk to surplus lines, definitely let me know and think about it. As the appetite says, it's available in all states, including the new ones that Crystal just mentioned. We do residential properties, we do commercial parking lots, we do rural roads, all in one policy. Condominiums, yeah.
It does look like there's a little bit of an audio distortion coming through now. I'm not sure if you're able to just click something real quick.
Let's try that. Is that any better?
That sounds good to me. Perhaps in the chat.
Is it better?
Yes, we're seeing way better. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that. I guess I had my wrong microphone selected. My bad. But so I hope y'all heard what I said, but basically it was the first 2 bullet points on the screen. Sherry, I do see your question about auto. We're going to talk about that in a second for what states we can do that in. So this right now is GL only, yes. Now, we have a bullet point here about highways, public streets, and roads. Now, we have a unique program that will do 100% streets and roads, and that includes highways. You'll find that rather unique for a lot of snowplow markets. They don't like highways. We're able to consider that. It's also a $5,000 minimum premium. These are very competitive, and it's with Northfield. They have not, in the 8.5 years I've been here, this program is virtually identical to the day I started. It's very consistent. It's a winner. It binds every year. I see the same risks every year. So that's a definite product to think about us for. If you have those guys who are plowing 100% streets and roads and even highways. We also consider a wide variety of business plowing exposures. So a few are listed here: restaurants, condo associations. I recently bound a large one who was plowing a chain of CVS pharmacies in Massachusetts. I think there were 13 of them. And so they were plowing all of them. That was totally fine. So a wide variety of businesses are acceptable within this program. We will, we'll talk about some that are not acceptable in a moment, as you can see on this slide. Subcontracting is entirely fine. We're open to that. Blanket AIs, blanket waivers, even blanket CG 2037. We can consider all of that. As far as shoveling, I get this question a lot. What about your one-person shoveling operation who might shovel the sidewalk in front of a few mercantile risks? Typically, we don't like straight-up shoveling. The reason for that is that, obviously, the minimum premiums are probably going to price those insureds out. They're probably not being paid that much. And our markets also, they can't generate the revenue from those for all the trip and falls. Kevin, I do see your question there about claims in New York and New Jersey. Yes, I do not have all the claims data in front of me right now, but yes, the legal environment is certainly such that there's, yeah, those raises are definitely justified from the data I've seen. You may be wondering, what don't we do? No box stores, so Walmart, Target, Costco, no hospitals, no stadiums, large concert venues, things like that, assisted living, nursing homes, airports. I will say, as a caveat with airports, if I had one a few years ago where they were plowing, let's say, the employee parking lot at an airport, we can talk about that if it's very strict, very limited to that, but certainly not the tarmac. Anything plane related, we are not touching it. Railroad, same thing. And snow removal from roofs, that comes up a lot. I will also mention you didn't see schools as excluded. We're able to consider schools, and I know that's a sticking point for some other people. So it might be worth thinking about that going forward for us if that comes across your desk. I found one recently. It was plowing at an elementary school, and that was no problem. On the whole, I see your question about 5,000 fully earned. Yes. The only exception to that is, let's say you have a landscaper who also snowplows in the winter. So we're writing an annual policy for all the operations. It's possible to get a lower minimum earned. I won't guarantee it because sometimes we can't, but in general, it's possible. Now, I believe we have a slide about business auto. And we have it in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, and Pennsylvania. We can do liability and physical damage. We like dump trucks, pickup trucks. Anything that has a removable plow is eligible for commercial auto. Driveways, parking lots are fine. And they'll even consider vehicles that are used for operations during the off season. So you drive the truck around for your landscaping business or your tree removal business, that's fine. You plow in the winter, that's fine. We have quite a broad appetite as far as that goes. So definitely reach out to our transportation underwriter, which is Carrie Eaton. You'll see her contact information later, as well as my own. We're always here to help you, and you'll see the rest of our team too. And the underwriter here is always happy to help you out with snow removal. William, I do see your question as we're wrapping up my slides here. Typically, supermarkets are considered box stores. If you have a convenience store, if you have something like a Dollar General, perhaps, those are okay. If you start getting into your Shaws, your Hannafords, your bigger ones, they tend to get nervous about that. But I would say send it in if you have kind of a moderate-sized grocery store. The worst thing to say is no, and we're happy to write all the business we can for you. So I'd love the opportunities.
All right, thank you so much, Zach. Very much appreciate that. Now we're going to talk a little bit about our pay-per-plow program. So this is a snow removal program available to your insureds through your agency. So how does this work? So this is a program that allows snow removal contractors to pay for a one-day or multi-day policy. As soon as they see a storm coming up, they can actually bind for just a period of time versus a full annual policy. So this gives a lot of flexibility for your snow removal contractors. So how does this work? Each agency will receive or can receive a unique web link or URL. You're welcome to request that link to us directly via the contact information you'll see at the end of this, as well as replying to any of the emails that we send you. But what occurs is that you do receive a unique URL unique to your agency, and that link can be given to snow removal contractors. At that point, they can then go in and request and bind coverage with that link. and you will then receive the commission for any bound business, your agency, providing that you've given them the agency link that is for your agency. So the commission on this business is 10%. We are going to walk through all of the screens in this program so you can see what the insured would see when they would go to request and bind this coverage. Now, this is available on a smartphone, tablet, or computer, anywhere where your insured can access a web browser. On the first couple screens here, you're going to see, we are going to get into details, considerations, and so forth. But the first screens you see here, after the insured goes to the link, they can click sign up. And when they sign up, they will receive a verification email. That's what this email looks like, and they will have to verify their account to start their profile. So again, I'll walk you through some of those screens in just a moment. But first, I want to talk a little bit about what this coverage offers your insured. This is coverage brought to us through Penn America. Penn America has created this snow clearing insurance program available on a mobile device. So a little bit of information about this program. It is available in quite a few states, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland, as you can see, all of the states listed here, including Virginia in 2022. We do have flexible limits up to $1 million, and blanket additional insured is available. Auto liability and auto physical damage on this is not included. The insured or snow removal contractor must have a commercial auto policy on the vehicles they're using in these operations. As Zach mentioned, we do offer commercial auto in several of the states where we also write business in several of the states listed above. So if your insured also needs commercial auto, we would encourage you to reach out to us as well. This is for residential snow clearing operations only. Snow removal from roofs is not permitted. That is a common question. And we do require 1 year of business operation. So this is not open for brand new ventures. However, the insured only needs 1 year of business. So moving forward, another common question we receive is what is included in those operations. Shoveling, salting, and sanding is included in the operations on this policy. Something that's really exciting is just the instantaneous documents that are received within when your insured goes to bind this coverage. So once the insured binds the coverage, they will receive their COI affidavit and deck page right there within the app. And I will show that in the screens as we go through each screen. Skid steer usage is eligible as part of the operations. Large loaders are not eligible. And then the final item that I wanted to bring up is the cancellation option, which is really exciting. So cancellations are allowed up to 11:59 p.m., the date before the coverage begins. So for example, if you had a snow removal contractor who was looking at the weather on a Monday, and of course we know the weather is always correct, the forecast is always right, but say he's looking at, or they are looking at the schedule for the upcoming week and seeing the forecast, and they see a snowstorm is going to occur on Friday and Saturday. That insured can then go through and actually request and bind snow removal coverage right in the app on that Monday. And they can continue to watch the forecast that week. And let's say on Thursday, the forecast completely shifts and turns out to not be predictable, and they no longer need that coverage for snow removal operations. They're no longer going to go snowplow on Thursday and Friday. They can actually go in, Friday and Saturday. They can actually go in on Thursday all the way up until 11:59 p.m. and cancel that policy for a full refund. But it is, once the date hits, then there is no pro rata return premium. So once Friday hits, they will not be able to receive return premium, but they can cancel all the way up until 11:59 p.m. So this is a really unique option. It's not available with our traditional annual policies because this is a per day or multi-day policy. So just a really exciting feature for that snow removal contractor. So we're going to go through the screens here just so you can have an idea of what the insured would see when they go to request and bind coverage. And again, this really does still involve the agency because it will be your opportunity to market this to the insured, and the insured can come to you with questions. And then if you have questions from the insured that you need answered, you can reach out to us and we'd be happy to help. So still building that relationship between your agency and the insured. And of course, each link is unique to your agency. So once the insured receives the link, they can actually go right onto any browser. Again, that's their smartphone, tablet, or computer, and they can click sign up. Once they do that, they will receive a very short web form, and they can agree to terms of use, policy, fill out this information, and then once they click continue, they will receive that email that I showed earlier in which they verify their account. Once they're verified and their account is set up, they can go in and actually click on this hamburger menu to complete their profile and add vehicles if they would like. I will show a little bit of what that looks like in a couple screens forward. But once they're all set up with their profile, they can actually go in, and this is how they're going to request and bind coverage. So they're going to click on one day or multi-day. So multi-day, they could have coverage for an entire week if they're expecting a big storm, or just one day if they're expecting a short storm. So they can go in and make the selection on which type they would like, and then they will select the dates and hit next. And after they do that, they're going to be able to choose their limits and their deductible. And when they do that, they will see rates based on the number of vehicles. So as I said before, they're able to add vehicles to their profile. They can actually do that, like I said, by clicking the hamburger menu up here. And when they do that, they just click on add or remove snow plows, and that will give them the ability to check off which plows later on in the process. So as we backtrack just a little bit, they choose their limit and deductible, and then they get an understanding of what the rate will be based on the number of vehicles. We do allow up to 5 vehicles per policy. After they select their limit and deductible, they can go ahead and confirm policy questions. So they are going to be asked a series of questions. Depending on how they answer their questions, that will allow them to proceed. If they are not able to proceed, they can certainly reach out to you and we can work with them on a traditional snow removal policy that is in alignment with some of the conditions and details that Zach Schmoll talked about a little bit earlier. So providing that the questions work out, they can move forward, and then they will see a little bit more information and details, things that would be excluded on the policy, just some very short information to give them a little bit of background on the policy. As they move forward again, they can then select the snow plows they would like covered. I do understand that there is not a Tundra for both Ford and Toyota, but we had to make some vehicles there for us today. So they do want to select a couple vehicles, or they can just select one vehicle, but they can select up to 5. So 1 to 5 vehicles, and then they hit next. So once they do that, they've essentially requested their coverage. They've gone through all of the desired screens that are needed to request coverage, and here is what they will receive. They'll receive, and this is, I know I had 2 snow plows selected in the previous screen, but this is an example if you had 1 snow plow selected for that period of time. And so it indicates the number of snow plows, days, base premium, and so forth. And then the snow removal contractor can continue to payment. And once they pay with their credit card, they do have a policy. And this is the screen they will see. They'll receive a policy number. They'll be able to download their documents. They are able to reach directly to the carrier if they would like. Again, snow clearing insurance is backed by Penn America, so they would be reaching out to Penn. And if they choose to reach out to you directly, they surely can, and we can always help with questions in that way. So in the future, as they go forward, if they wanted to see which different policies they had set up, they can go into their profile and see their future coverage. And they do not hide the cancel coverage button. So again, if the storm does not happen, they can click cancel coverage and receive that return premium. So that is all I have for the snow, the pay-per-plow program. We certainly will be sending a copy of this presentation as well as the slides following this presentation, but we do want to answer some questions. So it looks like Zach Sherman and Zach Schmull have been answering quite a few questions in the chat. Now is the time to use the Q&A feature. So if you have additional questions, please drop them in that Q&A section and we'll take a look and get those answered for you. So Sherry is asking if this is done online, are you notified when the insured has done that with a policy number? You do not receive an instant notification, no. In fact, we would send you notification as you're receiving that commission. So not an instantaneous feedback. You would have to really allow the insured to bind directly themselves. So mobile equipment on business auto, we would have to dig into that, but we can get that question answered for you. So we will follow up on that. And we will follow up with you as well. So we are seeing a question, how do we get a link assigned for the agency? You can certainly just reach out to us directly via marketing@neee.com or info@neee.com, and we would be happy to set you up with your link. And we absolutely will send this presentation forward to everyone that has registered. And we do have a question, is this a brand new program? So pay-per-plow has been around for about a year, so not super new, but we are continuing to share this information with agents. Okay, and we have some more questions in the Q&A here. So again, Linda has a question regarding a restriction on mobile equipment on business auto. We are going to gather the answer to that question, Linda, and we can follow up with you via email. And how does completed operations work? So are you speaking specifically to pay-per-plow? Okay, so they are speaking specific to pay-per-plow. So Zach, I don't know if you want to speak to completed operations on the traditional snow removal program. It's going to be similar to what we do for pay-per-plow because it is still a pen program.
I mean, yeah, so, but I think, and Charlene, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but your concern, right, is if the pay-per-plow policy, you have it for a day and then someone slips tomorrow, right? That I believe that's more your concern. Right? As an annual policy, you obviously have it for the entire term. So I will say this is on an occurrence-based form, which is good. It's obviously not a claims-made form, which would not be helpful. But as far as if you have more specifics, I certainly think, and Jennifer, yes, you are entirely correct in the chat that if they can add on extra days as far as they need it. So I think that's probably the best way to answer that. And certainly, and Crystal, you could also probably follow up with more information on that kind of scenario.
Certainly, thank you. Yes, I believe that it only covers for the days in which the policy is effective, but we will certainly follow up with everyone an answer to that question. Is there any specific criteria for the pay-per-plow policy? The criteria is only specific to the details that we've discussed today. So if there's any further details that you're looking for, we'd be happy to answer that. Is there any completed operations coverage with one-day and multi-day policy? So again, it would be similar to the completed operations you would receive on a traditional snow removal policy, but only for the period of time in which it's covered. So city, street, highway subcontracting plowing excluded. It is excluded on the pay-per-plow program.
I will say, though, I can definitely do that on an annual term. That's the Northfield project I was talking about, $5,000 minimum. I mean, they bind like crazy because I think they're one of the few that seem to do them really well. So if you have them, definitely send them my way for the annual. Be happy to help you.
Thank you. And then is coverage only provided during the time which coverage is purchased? That is correct for the pay-per-plow program. All right, well, we have received several great questions. I want to thank you so much for asking those. We do still have a question regarding mobile equipment on business auto. Sorry, our skid steers included. We do allow for skid steers, but we can answer additional transportation questions via email. We certainly encourage you to reach out to us to ask those questions. So
I'm sorry, Crystal. I was just going to say regarding skid steers. So because they most likely do not have a license plate and they most likely don't have a removable plow, that would most likely not be eligible for business auto. However, you know, if you have a situation where it does, definitely let us know. But those are 2 criteria for business auto. Thank you.
So as we mentioned, there's several ways to contact us. So first, we just want to share, as you all know, this is Zach Schmoll, who is presented with us today, and he is a senior commercial lines underwriter with us. So you can feel free to reach out to Zach for any questions regarding the snow removal operations, both traditional and pay-per-plow. We'd be happy to follow up. Carrie Eaton is available for all of your transportation questions, so she would be happy to connect with you, and her email is right there, but we'll be happy to share that in the follow-up email to this webinar. Also, Zach Sherman is available for pay-per-plow questions as well. And all of our commercial lines team here is available for your snow removal operations, your questions, and to place your snow removal business. So we would be happy to take a look at what you have. You can feel free to email anyone directly, or you can also submit your business to submissions@neee.com. And again, our website is neee.com. We want to thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you at the next one.